When thinking about Black film directors that are fighting the stereotypes, there are four things that we feel are important. People that are telling their story, people that are showing a love story, people that are waking up the culture, and people that are showing us as superheroes. John Singleton, director of Boys in the Hood, told his story. Gina Prince-Bythewood told us a love story. Jordan Peele made us step outside of our comfort zone and realize that racism still exists. Ryan Coogler showed us, yes, we can be superheroes. And Ava DuVernay was the first Black female director to direct a movie with a budget of over $100 million.
Director John Singleton attended the film program at USC in 1986, and Columbia Pictures bought his script for Boys in the Hood and gave it the budget of $7 million. Based off his personal life experiences, he wanted to make a movie that would tell his story.
Live, director John Singleton, who was nominated for an Emmy for his work on The People vs. O.J. Simpson. But it was 25 years ago this month that the first film you directed, Boys in the Hood, came out. You were 22 years old when you made that, 24 when you were nominated for the Oscar. What do you remember most about that time in your life?
Just being scared as hell. You know what I mean? I kept up a front like, okay, you know, I'm not impressed. I was like, you know, this, but I was like, I'm realizing all of my dreams, but I had to be, you know, from LA.
Absolutely. When
you're really, really nervous, you puff your chest up, you know, it's the same way in the barrio as it is in the hood. It's like, you know, just like, yeah, I got this.
What were you nervous about?
That was my attitude.
What were you nervous about? Was it the subject matter? Was
just
it
the fact that my life was changing so rapidly, and I wanted to try to hold on to who I was as much as possible. You know, you get into entertainment, a lot of people just lose their mind. And that, you know, I went to film school. So my thing was really about being as good a filmmaker as I can be, to study film, to explore and try to do it in a different way possible.
And it's a sweet movie. It's
now.
Not yes.
It has very, very tough subject matter in there, but it's a very, very sweet, warm, loving picture.
The industry changing at all? So we said that was however many years ago.
The industry has changed so much that a movie like Boys in the Hood can never be made now. I mean, because people want to, you know, they want to fetch over all these little things like, oh, you got to do this and then you got to do this, and then instead of like having filmmakers who have a straight vision and that have something to say or that can entertain as well, just let them go and do what they got to do.
Have you seen the director kind of role change too with producers and things that?
Well, they hire directors that they can basically tell what to do. Not you know. And one thing that I learned was, you know, the director should be the person in charge of everything, and you have to trust the director. Let the director do what they have to do, and you know, if you trust the right person, then you'll be fine. But you have all these cooks in the kitchen. It doesn't work.
But the subject matter, I look at it now, and now we're 25 years later, and the subject matter is still there.
Love is a powerful story within itself. Black love and culture is important, which is why Gina Prince-Bythewood created the film Love and Basketball, to show us a powerful love story.
I have to say, making my first film, I don't know if it'll ever be as good as that, and that it was such a perfect situation. I mean, it took forever to get it set up, and every studio turned it down. It took a year and a half to write. But once I found Spike Lee, who produced it, and then New Line Cinema, like they let me cast Sanaa Lathan, who was unknown. They gave me more money than I asked for, which was a shock. I'd never directed a film before. I'm pretty sure that they thought, because Spike was a producer, if I totally messed up, that he would step in and save me. And they just left me alone and didn't come on set and let me make the film that I wanted to make. And sadly, that's kind of rare in Hollywood. But given it was my first film, I thought it was always going to be like that. So,
you want to be my girl? What do I have to do? I guess we can play ball and ride to school together. When you get mad at me, I got to give you flowers. But I don't like flowers. Oh. How about Twinkies? My mom won't ever buy them. Okay. Okay. I think we gotta kiss now. For how long? 5 seconds? Not out here. Over there then. Ready?
Honestly, the biggest inspiration for this film was Harry Met Sally. I had loved that film. And honestly, it's very simplistic, but I thought in my head, let me write a black when Harry met Sally. But then as I started thinking about what I really wanted to say, it started getting more and more autobiographical. I played ball. My first kiss was the boy on my block, and we counted 10 seconds on our fingers. And so it just became more and more personal. So it was just about loving love stories and wanting to write something that I'd like to see. And the truth of it is that, especially back then, we rarely saw love stories with any people of color in them. And so it was also that fight to do that as well.
Jordan Peele wanted to push us out of our comfort zone, showing us all the black stereotypes, showing us that racism still is alive and well today. White people actually want what we have. Stay woke.
What are the discussions that you want folks to be having in Hollywood right now when it comes to diversity?
I think the diversity issue has been stunted by a couple of mythologies. Like, for a while the whole thing was like, oh yeah, you can't, black starring films don't work overseas. You don't make your money back overseas. That was the thing. And then, with Straight Outta Compton, with F. Gary Gray's Straight Outta Compton, we, saw that's in fact not true. That if you give people a chance to make elevated stories, make really, great movies, people will see it.
I think that this film really is a conversation starter. What are the kind of discussions that you want folks to have after they see this film?
That's the point, is to give audiences something to feel as a collective experience, and give them a visceral reaction that they can have, and then hopefully it just becomes part of the conversation. I just think racism is something that we can't not talk about. How I was thinking about my career, and one of the ways I did that was I started writing several projects. Get Out was one of them. It's totally a passion project. I didn't think it was ever going to get made, because I thought it was just too crazy an idea to get made, but it was just fun to write. So I kind of wrote my way out of the hardest period.
Role models are important figures to have in life. Action figures and dolls paint images in children's minds of beauty standards and strength. In a world where black children are taught not to love themselves, the Black Panther serves as a positive role model superhero.
Queen Mother, Princess, my comfort for your loss.
Thank you, Nakia. It is so good to have you back with us.
Take her to the river province to prepare her for the ceremony.
Yes, General.
Did he freeze? Like an antelope in headlights.
Are you finished?
Ava DuVernay directed the film A Wrinkle in Time, which was budgeted over $100 million. In its opening week, it was #2, while Black Panther was #1, making it the first time in history where two African-American directors were taking the #1 and #2 spot. These black film directors are fighting the stereotypes and are changing the narrative. They're not only telling their story, they're not only showing us what love can look like, they are waking us up, showing us that we are amazing, and showing us that we can do anything. Let's continue to fight the stereotypes and change the narrative.
Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. what I'm whipping up. This is America. Don't got you slipping up.